Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 111 of the Rise Up and Share Your Medicine podcast. I'm so delighted to be here with you. I wasn't here the last 2 weeks because, as some of you may know, I was traveling. I was in beautiful Colorado for the birth of my first grandchild. What? Do I look different? I was helping my daughter. I was there before the baby was born. I was supporting my daughter, during the before the baby was born, during the contractions, during the delivery, and afterwards. So it was such a special time. And I'll be sharing more about that in my newsletter. I'll share pictures. My daughter had a baby girl, and I know I had shared here many times that I had had dreams of my granddaughter. But I was like, when I was pregnant, when I had my own children, I was terrible at intuiting the gender. So I was like, oh, it's probably wrong. But it's a little girl, my little granddaughter. Her name is Lila Emilia, and she is adorable. Like, I know everybody thinks that about their grandchild, and I'm sure they are all very adorable, but Lila is like, oh my gosh, and she has so much hair. So I will share some pictures on Instagram and my newsletter, and just, yeah, some of the lessons that I learned, with my daughter's birth. That was the eighth, including my five children. Obviously I was in those births. This was my eighth um, delivery I've been blessed to be in. And it was so special for many reasons. One, it was my daughter, but there was just other factors. And I've said this before, and I know this is a very used common analogy of how we all go through different pregnancies in our lives, not pregnant of like a baby necessarily, but pregnancies of birthing yourself, birthing a new chapter in your life. And being there, I was like, oh my gosh, like it's so true. Like it really is like a pregnancy and delivery and all of the things. So I'll be sharing some of those insights. But today, and this is so relevant for today we're going to talk about preparing for your new beginnings. So, if you are new to my work, my name is Lisa Espinosa. Did I say that already? I don't even know. My name is Lisa Espinosa. I'm a spiritual career coach, and I help my clients, when they're feeling like disconnected from themselves or feeling like, I know I have more to share, but I don't know what that will look like, or I'm so tired, I don't even know if I have the energy for it, or I'm just so busy helping everybody that paradoxically I can't actually find time to connect with my soul, to listen to my soul, and to know what is my next step, what is the next chapter of my offering of my gifts. So that's what I help my clients do. And I help them do that. Really, the simple solution is you have to receive from your soul every day. And what I teach my clients is how to do that, is how to remove the blocks and obstacles so you can do that. So today we're going to talk about preparing for your new beginning. And I want to talk about what is a new beginning and what it is not, because that's really important. And of course, here we are at the end of 2024, but whenever you're watching this, it doesn't have to be the end of the year for you to do this. In fact, throughout the year, you're going to have endings and beginnings. So a new beginning is really a new cycle of growth, a new level of mastery, right? A new level of wisdom, a new level of service. And when I say new, it's not just new, I should say that better, like more accurately, a higher level, right? A higher level of service, a higher level of wisdom, a higher level of mastery, a higher level of leadership, right? A higher level of compassion, of love, like a new beginning. The true meaning of that always implies that there was an ending, there was a graduation, so to speak, and now you're in this new level. But often, what's confused as a new beginning, and this is what I really want you to hear, is that often you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I just want to escape the situation I'm in right now. Like, this is so stressful, or this has gone so bad, or I have so much regret, or I'm just so tired of this. I just need a new beginning. And I don't want to think about the past, and I just want to like start fresh. And that energy of escaping the past or leaving what you're uncomfortable with and just kind of starting fresh. The problem with that is that you bring the past with you then. Whenever you're going from that energy of escape, whenever you're coming from that energy of like rushing to leave something, right? We bring it with us because the only reason you're rushing to escape it is because there's something there that you still need to process. It might just be compassion for yourself. It might just be acceptance of the situation. It doesn't mean you have to stay there for years and years and years. But anytime there's the energy of like rushing and getting to your new beginning, then that's the challenge in that is that you'll bring the past with you. So I wanted to share this today to ensure that that's not what happens to you, right? It's to really get clear, well, how do you prepare for the new beginning of 2025 or whenever you're watching this, right? How do you prepare for the new beginning? And sorry, this weird message just popped on my computer. Okay. So first thing, I wrote them down here, 5 steps. So I want to make sure, I wanted to make this very, very practical for you. And so let me back up a little bit. Because we're here at the end of the year, let's just focus on that, right? And the new year. You probably have some intentions for the new year, right? Maybe you're a wellness professional and you want to serve more clients or grow your business, or you want to share more of your creativity with the world, or maybe it's more of an internal intentions. You want to be happier, you want to feel more peace, you want to have really clear boundaries so that you have the space to listen to your soul. You want to attract healthier relationships, mutually fulfilling relationships, right? So there's all these different intentions you might have. You might want to share your unique gifts in a more powerful, impactful way. And so whether you're very clear on your intentions yet or not, that will be the new beginning for you, right? This new cycle of growth, right? This new level of wisdom. So how do you prepare for that new beginning? So the first step, and you probably know this if you've been following me for a while, is you set the intention. Setting the intention is always the first step. Like set the intention. That is so powerful. So even if you're like, well, I don't know how, anytime you catch yourself saying, well, I don't know how, just remember, okay, well, the first thing I can do is set the intention. So setting the intention, and I encourage you to invite your soul to be with you as you set the intention. So letting your soul know, beautiful soul, I'm setting the intention to step into my new beginning. And then you fill in like the adjectives, with grace, with peace, with clarity, with power, with love, with abundance, whatever feels right for you. I want to step into this new beginning, truly step into it. And then the second step, because an essential aspect of embracing your new beginning is integrating the past. Like that needs to happen. And so after you set the intention, then step number 2 is releasing, right? It's like, sorry, not releasing, it's like taking in. So if you think of integration like eating, when you take in nutrition, right? Think about the physical body. When you eat, right? You chew the food, your saliva, your teeth, all of that is part of it. You swallow the food, it goes down your esophagus, it goes into your stomach. Your stomach, if everything's working properly, digests it, meaning that it takes in the nutrition and then it releases the waste, right? There's other steps, but that's the gist of it. So when you're integrating your past, that's the same thing you're doing. And so if we think about 2024, is you want to integrate this year, or you want to integrate, take in, receive the lessons, the growth, right? The growing expansion, your growing awareness, the wisdom, the courage, all of the things of 2024 that were your nutrition, right? So you take it in, you receive it, you acknowledge it. This is really important. And you celebrate it. Now, if you're like, how do I do any of those things? It's actually very simple, right? For example, you might literally write it down. You might just open up your journal and just write down, look at your calendar, and you don't remember, your soul is with you. So don't put all this pressure on yourself that, like, oh, I've got to remember everything about the year. Your soul will bring to your mind the things that she wants you to look at. And also, do not get overwhelmed about time with this. So if you're hearing this and you're thinking, oh, this is going to take like 2 hours, I need to wait for a special time to have this. No, you can literally put the timer for 30 minutes and do it in that time if that's the time you have, or even less. So watch how your egoic mind will try to put off you doing this, right? So you can journal, you can write down, okay, beautiful soul, show me what are all the lessons? What is all the growth? What are all the, what are all the celebrations? What are all the ways that I showed courage this year? Because one of the hardest things about this step is that, again, your ego mind will get in the way. Your egoic mind, you can think of it as your intellect, your personality self. And our ego is always comparing, it's often despairing, it's often self-judging. And so if you do this with your ego's lens, all you might look at and just be like, oh my gosh, well, I thought I was going to do this, but I didn't do it. Oh my gosh, I'm still struggling with that. Like, that's all coming from your egoic mind. Your soul wants to celebrate you, wants to help you integrate, and wants you to acknowledge the growth. So for example, for me this year, there were goals I had that I didn't meet, that just wasn't what happened this year. And yet there were other things that I didn't even know was on my soul's agenda for 2024 that, oh my gosh, were such a stretch, such an expansion, so much healing. And so when I do this process, I will be looking at that, right? I won't just be like, well, I didn't meet my goal. That sucks. Let me go to 2025, new beginning. No, that would prevent me from fully integrating and would most likely create me repeating some of the lessons. So again, think about what are you acknowledging? What were the wins? I mean, definitely, if there were goals you met, write those down. What were the lessons? What were the surprises? What stretched you? What expanded you? What felt vulnerable? Where were you courageous? And really ask your soul to show you that. This is one of the things I help my clients with the most in their sessions, where they might come in feeling really down or really like, oh my gosh, I'm still struggling with this one thing. And then as we sit and talk, and I help them to really connect with their soul and see their life through their soul's lens and recognize, oh my gosh, yeah, actually, I would have responded in this way, and now I responded this way. I was courageous. I spoke up in a class. I went to a retreat. I started something new. I put myself out there, right? I had that one conversation. I asked for help. I mean, there were so many ways. I shared my personal experiences. I started a class, right? And so this is really important. Bring your soul in. Now, along with writing it down, you could also create a ceremony or a ritual. And again, this is one of those things that your ego will try to make you feel is very hard. And I'm going to read a comment here. Yes, thank you, Sophia, for sharing that. She said, integrating the past is something that I find very hard. I feel it is the receiving part and not believing that I am worthy of the gifts. Absolutely, Sophia. Yes, we all have so many blocks to receiving. I really, being away in Colorado with my daughter, supporting her, there was just a lot of factors, not just that, but other things that were going on at home here in Mexico. I was in Colorado, here in Mexico. I had to really lean into receiving from my soul, receiving from God, from source. And it was another level of awareness, Sophia, and everybody watching, of like, wow, I still have some big blocks around receiving, like around receiving the love from the divine, the love from my soul. And I've been talking about this for like years and years and years. So it was like, oh, and so that like, you're right, the integration, it is very much a receiving practice. And if you have had, and I'm not just talking to Sophia here, but anybody listening, if you've had experiences with people in authority who have been judgmental or cruel or even abusive or gaslighting you or narcissistic or whatever, like we can internalize those things. So instead of feeling like this beautiful thing, oh, I'm going to meet with my soul and my soul's going to show me all the growth, the expansion I've experienced this year. We might come at it like we're going to the principal's office or like a mean teacher's room or some judge that's going to be like, these are all the things you did wrong. And, and so we might approach it that way, but that's not how it is. And it is a receiving. So if, like Sophia, you're realizing as you hear me, like, oh yeah, I do have blocks around receiving, again, ask your soul for help. Right? It's like, okay, I know that the integrating might be hard for me, but I'm going to let myself help me to receive, help me to be nurtured by 2024, even if it's been a challenging year. My 2024 has been really, really challenging. There were blessings for sure, but it was very challenging. And I got to October thinking I was done with, like I was like, whew, I've had so many challenges this year. And then a huge one that I wasn't expecting, kind of knocked me off my feet. Right? So, and yet I know that there was so much growth, and a lot of them initiated by those challenges, right? A lot of healing that happened. And so, yes, that receiving, that integration is receiving. And think about your relationship with food. Sometimes that can kind of show you how good you are at integrating, right? Like it's like, we can deprive ourselves of good food. We can binge on it, right? If we feel it's going to run out, we can use it in different ways. And again, don't use this against yourself or to judge yourself, but think about the times when you've really been able to enjoy nurturing your body. Eating a meal that feels good to you, really enjoying it, taking your time. This is what the integrating part of this is. And so what I was going to say before was another way to integrate is to create a ceremony or a little ritual. Again, that's very simple. It's just doing some physical activity that represents your integration. It could be as simple as lighting a candle. I love using candles for this. Like I'll go buy a pretty new candle. Often it'll have Our Lady of Guadalupe on there, and I'll just light it up. And my intention is that, okay, as this candle burns, it's helping me integrate. And I might do that, that candle might burn for a few days. Of course, practice candle safety. You all know what that means. But it might be lighting a candle. It might be doing grabbing some beautiful crystals and doing a grid, a geometric shape with the crystals in your house, and just with the intention that, okay, this is going to help me integrate. It might be going outside to a special place in nature and just communing with nature, with the trees, with water, with the intention of like, okay, I'm integrating the lessons of this year. And, I know those of you who are watching, you have your own practices and tools, so use whatever comes to you. But there's something really powerful when you do something external to integrate. And of course, if you have a coach, a therapist, a healer, somebody that's helping you, have them help you integrate. Again, that's one of the things I've been doing with my clients in these last sessions of the year, is helping them to integrate. Okay, so now after the integrating process, so you set the intention, you receive as step 2, that's the integration, receiving, and then step 3 is releasing. And I think in some ways, people have an easier time with the releasing, or they think they have an easier time with the releasing. Like, okay, that was so hard. I release it. I let it go. I don't want to think about that. But again, that's not what this is about. The integration has to happen first, right? Again, think about eating. You can't release until you've taken the food, right? Like you've got to, so like that happens first. And then absolutely you're like, okay, and whatever the waste is, whatever is unnecessary, soul, help me let go of that. I don't need to take that with me to 2025. So, for example, with one of my experiences that I had this year, one of the things I would want to release, one of the things that came out of that, there was so much growth, there was so much healing, there was so much expansion, there was so much developing of my muscle of faith and trust. But there was also, as I was going through it, and I'm still going through it, there was a lot of ungroundedness. Like it felt traumatic, right? So it felt like I kind of like went back to default settings of like escaping my body, right? And being up here. And it's like, oh no, like coming back to my body, actually having this experience helped me ground even more, connect to the earth even more. So one of the things that I know I want to release is the trauma of the experience, the part of it that made me unground, right? And for those of you who are like, what does that mean? It's like, if you've ever experienced something really challenging, painful, hurtful, shocking, or even a trauma, like it's very normal that we kind of like as a defense mechanism escape our body. Like it's too painful, so we might be floating up here in our head. But ultimately that's not helpful. Like that's when you walk around feeling kind of spacey and almost in a trance. And yeah, maybe you don't feel the pain, but also you don't feel joy, and you don't, it's hard to feel the joy and the love and the support. So I know that that's one of the things I'm going to be releasing for step 3 for me is the trauma of the experience, is the shock, right? The literal like shock, like the image I kept visualizing when this happened for me was of somebody who had left their house, like had a house that they loved, left their home and came back and the home was burned down. And it's like, and they were like, wait a minute, I literally just left my house like 10 minutes ago. It was here. Now it's not here. What happened to my house? And the shock of that. Now, that's never happened to me. I've never experienced that. So I know some of you might have, but that was the image. That's how it felt for me. Like that level of shock. Like, what? It was. And so, although it led to so much growth and so much healing, I know that I want to release that shock because that shock affected my body and it led to like anxiety and feeling like mistrustful, and so I've been working on it, but that's one of the things for sure. It's like, okay, I'm letting go of that. And so for you, maybe it won't be so drastic, but it's like thinking about, what am I letting go of? Maybe it's self-judgment. Maybe you're like, oh, there was a lot, I don't want to take that with me in 2025. Like that's one of the things that's the waste. Self-judgment, comparison. Maybe it's a sentence, like, I don't trust myself. I'm not ready, whatever that is. And when you think about releasing, you could think of it this way. What are the thoughts, beliefs, emotions that you're like, I can release these? Now, of course, it is normal to have emotion. So I don't, like 2025, you're going to have emotions. That's the human experience. But it's identifying, like, is there an emotion like shame, for example? That is not a useful emotion. It's actually such a poison. And so if you recognize, oh my gosh, like that has kept me down so much, like that's one of the things I want to release. That's one of the wastes that as I integrate that, I want to release that. And so really think that, and the same, how do you do it? It's very similar to the integration. You could write it down. You could do a ceremony. You could do a ritual, right? You can go by a body of water and hold a rock, and that rock symbolizes what you're releasing, and you toss it in the water. I feel like that works a lot more powerfully when you write it down first. Or if you have a coach, a therapist, someone, a good friend that's a great listener that can listen first. You don't have to write it, you could talk to them. And so that's the aspect of releasing. Right? That's the part, again, we're preparing for your new beginning. So what did you do? Step one, you set the intention and you invite your soul to be with you. Beautiful soul, my intention is to prepare for my new beginning. And what does that mean? Prepare so that I don't bring the past with me. It's actually a new beginning. Step two is you integrate, right? You acknowledge, you celebrate, you receive the gifts of the experiences of 2024. Right? Step three is you release. Now it's like the release part. Okay, what are the thoughts, the beliefs, the emotions, the patterns, the habits, whatever it is that it's like, oh gosh, this part gets to be released. And for some of you, it might be relationships. Maybe it's not the relationship, but it's the way you've been in the relationship. And again, be mindful if your ego starts to tell you this is really complicated. It's going to take a lot of time. It's not. Because you already did the hard part. You already lived it. This is like, it will flow. And if it needs to take a couple of days where you do it 20 minutes one day, 20 minutes the other, that's fine. And then finally, is you're going to choose. And this is really, I'm going to leave that. Okay, let me go back because that's really goes into the next. This is like when you enter your new beginning. So let's say that the final step is you receive from your soul. And of course, you're receiving from your soul the whole time, but then a very intentional receive from your soul. Receive your soul's blessing, your soul's light. Because remember what is happening as you're integrating, your physical body is taking in all of the nutrition of your experiences, of your transformative experiences this year. It's letting go of the gunk. So you're making more space inside of you, and then you receive so your soul can fill you up with more of its light. So that's how you prepare. So I want to show you a card that I pulled, and I was so excited. This is from a new deck that I have that I'm loving. It's called the Medicine Woman Oracle, and it's Bison Totem. Life is showering you with its abundance. Look at this. Showering you with its abundance. And again, this is part of preparing for your new beginning. You want to make space for that abundance. So I invite you, we're going to just do a very quick little meditation that encapsulates all of these steps. I want to remind you also, if you're not signed up for my mailing list, I will put the link in the comments page. That is the best way to stay up to date with everything that's coming up. I'll be doing lots of different lives and classes, both to keep preparing us for the end of the year, but also in the beginning of the new year. I'm so excited for that. And I still have a few slots for a free breakthrough consultation. That's a 1-hour session with, well, it's not a session, a consult with me. Well, I will help you get clear. Like, what is the problem actually that you're trying to solve? What is the challenge that you're having? And you're probably clear on that. I feel stuck. I feel disconnected from myself. I want to share more of my gifts, but I don't know how to start, right? I'm like so busy helping everybody else. I don't have time for it, whatever it is. And then I will share with you the simple solution and the process based on what you tell me. And then if I feel I can help you further, I'll also share the details of my coaching program. And let me tell you, I just had a breakthrough consult myself, like I was the potential client. And it was so helpful to meet with this woman and talk to her and let her know what my challenge was, what I needed help with, to listen to her, kind of diagnosis, prognosis. And then, I'm going to sign up to work with her in the first 3 months of the year. And I feel so much peace knowing I have that support set in place for me. It's like, okay. And so this is what you can do for yourself. Even if it ends up that you don't, that it's not a good fit and we don't end up coaching together, that's fine. Still, the consult is so powerful. So I'll put the link also in the comments if you want to sign up for that. And so I think that's it. And let's go ahead and begin. Let's do this quick little inner journey. So I invite you to take a few deep cleansing breaths. Feel the earth under your feet. Connect with your whole body from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes. And then bring your awareness to your heart center, right at the center of your chest. And I like bringing the palms of my hands over my heart center like this. And visualize a beautiful light in your heart that emanates this ray of light in front of you. And what you see in front of you now is a beautiful golden path. And you're standing on that golden path. And as you stand on that golden path, you look back and you see, oh my gosh, as you look back, it's the whole year, the whole 2024, or whenever you're watching this, it's your past. And so you stand on this path, right? You stand now, the past is behind you. In front of you is a golden path that represents the future. And then in front of you appears this beautiful pillar of light. And this pillar of light represents your beautiful soul. And as your beautiful soul is there radiating its love and light, go ahead and set the intention. Say something along the lines of, beautiful soul, I want to prepare for my new beginning. Help me to prepare for my new beginning. Help me to integrate, to release, to receive, so that I can prepare for this new beginning. And let your soul know, beautiful soul, I'm going to ask you to show me all the lessons, all the gifts, all the growth, all the courage, all the gains, all the ways that I stretched, that I expanded, all the challenges, all the celebrations. And in this moment, just feel like your soul's filling the crown of your head with all of this light. And you might see images or you might not, but you're getting all of that, all of what your soul's going to want you to integrate. It's going into your heart. And later you can take longer with this, but you're just receiving like, oh, okay, yes, this is what you're going to receive. These are your pearls of wisdom. This is what's going to lead to your new level of mastery, of service, of wisdom, of joy. And then say, beautiful soul, help me to release. Show me, what am I releasing? What am I not meant to take with me from these experiences? What needs to be released? What is the waste? What am I laying down? What am I shutting? What is dissolving in your light? And just imagine that there's this heavy dark energy that's just falling out into the earth. And again, later you'll receive more awareness, or maybe you already are receiving awareness, but that is getting released. And as that happens, feel like, oh my gosh, you're expanding. There's more space being created inside of you. And as that space is created inside of you, now you say, beautiful soul, now fill me with your light. Fill all those spaces where I integrated, where I release. Fill me with more of your light. I receive, I receive, I receive your light. And just see your body filling with light. Maybe it starts at your heart and it expands and you're filling your torso, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your stomach, your back, your hips, your pelvis, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your shins, your feet, moving up your neck, the back of your head, your face, the crown of your head. You're just filled with so much light, and the light radiates out, filling your auric field. So you are so bright and so radiant. And your soul is showing you this is how you prepare for your new beginning. And so we bring the palms of our hands together and we bow to each other and our own heart. And notice that your soul bows to you with such deep reverence as we end this inner journey with a namaste. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Please feel free to share in the chat or in the comments anything that came up for you. Now, that was pretty quick. You can do your own longer version, but trust that even this little bit is like already starting to bring you insights and downloads that you need. Okay, so I'm gonna pull a card from the Wild Woman Rising, and I will share that with you. And then I will connect with you through my newsletter. I'll put my link to Instagram because I'll be sharing a lot on Instagram, so you can follow me there. And if you want to schedule a consult, please do not hesitate. If you go on there and there isn't a slot that works for you, email me. And if something opens up, I will let you know right away. I'll put you on a waiting list and I'll let you know right away. All right, so here we go. What is the message? Number 13, fight like a girl. Look at this beautiful woman. So what this card is about is really your divine feminine energy. So this is saying something about preparing for your new beginning is about that divine feminine energy. What is that? It's what Sophia was talking about. What I was talking about was like receptivity, intuition, openness, connection, generosity, collaboration. All of those feminine attributes. A lot of times when we're coming to the end of the year or the beginning of the year, the masculine energy can feel very dominant. Okay, what are going to be my goals? What do I need to do? What are the action steps? And all of that is absolutely essential, but it must start with the divine feminine first. Because if not, what happens? We just bring the pest with us and we repeat the same thing, right? We run out of steam after 3 months or even less. So this is saying you're a warrior. Use your divine feminine gifts to prepare for your new beginning. That's what's needed. All right. Thank you, everyone. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.